Zootopia 2 is out in theaters, and if you ask us, it's one of Disney's best movies in a while.
Beautiful!
The cast is full of old friends and new friends, and also some old and new enemies. So today we're ranking every character from Zootopia 2 from good to evil. Spoilers ahead. And as usual, we'll be starting with the most pure-hearted characters and working our way down to the most evil. These characters are the good. And for our gold medal of good, we're traveling back in time to talk about one of the main hero's ancestors, Agnes the Snake. Contrary to what the Linksley family would have you believe, Gary's great-grandmother Agnes is the one who rightfully invented Zootopia's weather walls, aka the inventions that allow all of the animals to live in harmony. She gets a ton of credit from us for essentially being the whole reason Zootopia even exists, and without any bad qualities to speak of, we just had to give her the top spot. Although her great-grandson, Gary the Snake, comes pretty close. Really, the two are pretty much interchangeable in terms of morals. Agnes invented Zootopia's weather walls, only for her work to be stolen by her treacherous business partner. More on that later. But for now, Gary is dedicated to clearing his great-grandmother's name, as well as that of his entire species. Aiming to clean up the poor image of reptiles held by Zootopia, he works with Pobber to track down Agnes's lost patent and finally prove that she invented the weather walls, as well as clearing her name of a murder she didn't commit. As for his other good traits, Gary is super friendly, most notably shown by the fact that despite his family's horrendous history with the Linksley family, he fully trusted Pobber as his friend and partner. Unfortunately, history does in fact repeat itself sometimes. But thankfully, Gary also managed to save Judy and Nibble's lives during their battle with Pobber. Usually, stabbing someone straight through the heart would be a bad deed, but this is one of those weirdly specific exceptions. Next, we have the first character returning from movie 1, Judy Hopps. Judy is every bit as good-hearted as she was in the first movie. In some ways, even more so. She's a real altruist, determined to help Gary even when her life is at stake. And when I say when her life is at stake, I mean it. She almost dies, like, twice in this movie, and that's just off the top of my head. Her dedication to helping whoever needs it is on another level. It's also worth noting that her friendship also kept Gary going after their other partner betrayed them, and if she hadn't been there with him, he wouldn't have been able to warm himself up. If we had to mention anything negative about Judy, it'd be her recklessness when it comes to doing good. She doesn't always think her actions through, like when she nearly got herself and Nick killed chasing Gary through the red line, then refused to accept any wrongdoing. They reconciled in the end, and we acknowledge that Judy meant well, but come on. If you want to be helpful, you definitely need to make sure to be alive. Up next, we have the local conspiracy theorist who's actually just straight up right. Nibbles Maple Stick is a friendly rodent with a wide array of skills, vast scientific knowledge, and a heart full of southern hospitality. All of that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Anyway, Nibbles, is a helpful member of the main crew throughout the movie. Not only is she a positive influence in her community, she's also the one who gets Nick and Judy in touch with the reptiles, and even tagged along with them.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub. Hey.
Hey, bub. Hey.
Bub, 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 bub.
Bub, 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 bub.
Hey, bub.
Hey, bub. Hey, bub.
She also broke herself and Nick out of prison, helped him finally open up about how much he cares about Judy, and helped him save hers and Gary's lives. She's not the only furry friend who came in clutch, though. This movie saw the return of the legendary lead-footed speed demon Flash. When Nibbles and Nick needed to save Gary and Judy, they had a long way to go, and they'd need the fastest driver in Zootopia on speed dial to manage. Thankfully, not only was Flash capable, he didn't even hesitate. The guy got a call from Nick asking for help and just said, no problem. You know, he just said it much slower than that.
No problem.
He may be a reckless driver, but he's also a legendary friend who really comes through when it matters most. Though we are going to give him the Sloth Sinner Medal because, well, you know. But now we finally reach our other lead, Nick Wilde. While Nick is every bit as sarcastic as he was in the first movie,
Well,
can't win them all.
He gets some solid development throughout the sequel. He goes from begrudgingly going along with Judy's plans to find Gary, to discouraging them because they aren't worth dying for, to ultimately acknowledging that he does believe in her cause. He just doesn't want her to get hurt, and struggles to find a way to say that. Thankfully, Nick really comes through in the third act. He risks his life and nearly plunges to his death to get the anti-venom pen from Paubert, showing that he is willing to die if it means saving Judy's life. That's not to mention the aforementioned red line scene where he does save Judy's life. Now we get to Chief Bogo. While he doesn't have too much screen time in the movie, Bogo is a lot more likable this time around. We can see that he's grown to not just respect Judy, but to even like her, to the point that even when Judy and Nick wreak havoc across the city and nearly drive into a parade full of people, Bogo gave her another chance to prove that she and Nick were able to work together as partners. The guy is pretty forgiving, and accepted Gary's apology for biting him without any real resistance. He's grown a lot since the first movie, and we have to respect him for that. Next, we have Jesus. Jesus is the reptile who Nibbles connected Nick and Judy with. He offered a lot of helpful information about the book and how it could clear the reptile's name. And he also helped them escape from Hogbottom and Truffler when they broke into their hideout. So that's enough goodness to outweigh him pranking the pair into eating worms. But just barely. And just a couple more quick mentions to iron out this category. There's Clawhauser, whose mix of clumsiness and quick thinking helped him figure out where Gary and Judy were. His love for donuts makes him a clear winner for the Gluttony Sinner Medal, but he helped out a lot and played a role in clearing the reptile's name and saving some of his comrades' lives. And rounding out this category are the Zebros. These two are they're just bros, honestly. They high-five, they make arrests, they take credit for others' arrests sometimes. They're the type of dudes who mess around with others, but not in a malicious way or anything. They just march to the beat of their own drum, more often than not. We think their airheaded personalities make them a good fit for the Darwin Sinner Medal though, but they seem like friendly enough guys, and if nothing else, they clearly love each other. Which wraps up the good section and brings us into the gray area. And we have to start with the newest member of the Big family, Judith. Mr. Big's granddaughter is the apple of his eye. Being a kid, she really just likes spending time with her family and playing games. But being a mafia kid, she also likes forcing people to do her bidding or suffer the consequences. We won't begrudge a kid for having fun, but if she tells you to kiss her ring, you'd better pucker up, especially if Mr. Big is nearby. And then there's Mr. Big's daughter, Frou-Frou. Despite being part of a crime family, Frou-Frou isn't particularly fond of crime herself. Granted, her purse company's warehouse does look kinda like a sweatshop, but we want to believe the best, so let's just assume those polar bears are being paid well, and they just look sad because they're concentrating really carefully. Now, whether or not she is running a sweatshop though, Frou-Frou is still a kind soul who loves her family and even helps Judy and Nick by getting them in touch with Nibbles. That said, according to Mr. Big himself, she does come up with, quote, wonderful ideas for crime. I don't know what he meant by that, and I'm not sure if I want to, but I do know that it's definitely some gray area material at best. And then there's another minor character, Paul. This little mole is one of the tech experts at the Zootopia Police Department. We're only placing him in the gray area because he has a habit of being rude to customers, seemingly for no reason. But in his defense, if my office got destroyed as often as his did, I'd probably be pretty bitter too. In any case, he's certainly more of a pleasant guy than Truffler and Hogbottom, one of the new ZPD teams introduced in this movie. These two make up the Razorbacks and basically act as secondary antagonists throughout the movie. Under the mayor's orders, they relentlessly chase down Judy and Nick throughout the movie, and aren't particularly over who they have to shove out of the way to get to them. They're certainly violent and reckless, but they have their limits. When Milton Linksley orders them to take a killing shot at Judy, they're unable to do it, even helping the good guys in the end. They still spend more time doing bad than good, but everyone deserves a second chance. That sentiment extends to Mayor Brian Winddancer, or as we like to call him, the Joe Swanson horse. Winddancer is the new mayor of Zootopia, and he's a pretty nice guy. Unfortunately, that niceness is a bit surface level. It's revealed that he got his position in office thanks to the Linksley family, who state that they chose him as mayor. It's up for debate whether Winddancer deliberately became mayor through dishonest means, but what's not up for debate is that he aided the Linksley family in their attempts to hunt down Gary, Nick, and Judy. While he did help take the Linksleys down in the end, his return to the side of good came a little too late for us to put him up any higher. But does making a mistake mean you can't become a hero later on? Like Wind Dancer, we say nay. And to close out this section, we have the biggest, baddest character before the actual bad characters. Mr. Big is the head of the Big family, and despite being in a kid's movie, he definitely has some blood on his hands. That said, he also has a sense of honor, treating others with respect as long as they treat him in kind. He prepares fake IDs and an escape route for Nick and Judy when the Linksleys start chasing after them, and warns them that the Linksleys kill without any semblance of honor. In addition to helping the main heroes, there's also the fact that he's placed crime on the back burner to be a grandfather to Judith, a job he considers his new top priority. It turns out Mr. Big is short for Mr. Big Heart. But now with the gray area wrapped up, it's time to get to our final section. These characters are the bad and the evil. And first up, we have the least evil of the Linksley family, Pobert Linksley. And to start, we gotta say, they really listened to the criticisms people had of the first movie's twist villain. Because I for one was shocked when Pobert straight up poisoned Judy and left Gary to freeze to death. And to make matters worse, but better from a writing standpoint, he did it with plenty of time to do more evil on screen. The guy tried to kill each of the four main heroes, and even after he nearly fell to his death, he still tried to get to the old Snake home to burn Agnes's patent, thus bearing the Linksleys family's legacy of lies for good. That all makes Pobert really evil, no matter how deceptively nice he was beforehand. So why is he the least evil of his family? Well, to be honest, we just kind of feel bad for the guy. He's not a good person, but don't get me wrong, even when Judy gives him the classic, "You can be better than this" speech, he just straight up says, "Lol, nope," and leaves her to presumably die. But in the end, he really just wanted his family to love and accept him as one of them. We'll give him the Envy Sinner Medal as a consolation prize, since it's pretty clear that his family isn't going to warm up to him anytime soon. But if there's anyone in that family who has some potential to be redeemed, I guess we'd say it's definitely this guy. Terrible person, but we do kind of feel for him, and he is a good twist villain. Now, following Pobert, we have Fratric and Kitty Linksley, his more favored siblings. We don't really see much of these two, to be honest. They really just act as their old man's goons and constantly argue over who gets to help him out more. They're just trying to get brownie points with their crime boss dad, whose love is clearly based on who can help him out with his crimes the most. Again, terrible people, but they were a product of their environment, if nothing else. Now then, for our Bronze Medal of Evil winner, let's give a shout out to the returning villain from Zootopia 1, Dawn Bellwether. Dropping from an unquestionable #1 evil spot in the first movie to third really says a lot about how evil the new movie's villains are. But that's not to say that Bellwether is any less evil now. I mean, the woman is a violently bigoted extremist who attempted to have predator animals exiled from the land entirely by accusing them of crimes they were drugged to commit. Dawn is a scumbag, but we're placing her beneath our bottom two because they somehow managed to be even worse and did even more evil than she did. In our very close second place spot, the Silver Medal of Evil has to go to Milton Linksley. The head of the Linksley family, Milton is a ruthless murderer who won't hesitate to put down anyone who stands in his way. He orders the ZPD to kill Gary without a shred of hesitation, and when they naturally don't do this, Milton does what Linksley does best and frames the main duo for trying to kill someone they were not, in fact, trying to kill. He also orders Hogbottom to kill Judy in the final act, showing that murder is something he has zero issue with. That level of nonchalance about killing tells us he's definitely done it before, and probably quite a bit too. As if being a killer wasn't enough, Milton is also a horrible father. He abuses Pobert and allows him to be bullied by siblings, and when Wind Dancer finally turns against him, he shoves his kids to him as meat shields like the coward he is. There's not a single good quality in this guy, and yet somehow he manages to be less evil than his ancestor. While he's dead by the time this movie takes place, Ebenezer Linksley is without a doubt the most deserving of the Gold Medal of Evil. But first, this video is brought to you by Wicked Binge channel memberships. You can gain access to our videos early before anyone else, plus get members-only emojis and loyalty badges by supporting the channel through a membership. When Agnes the Snake approached Milton's grandfather as a business partner to help fund her weather walls, Linksley agreed, with a few stipulations. What stipulations, you ask? Oh, nothing much, just you know, taking all the credit for himself, attempting to burn Agnes's patent, killing his own maid when she tried to stop him, framing Agnes for said murder, a murder he committed, then proceeding to freeze out the entire reptile habitat of the weather walls to force them out of Zootopia. But surely he had a good reason for all this, right? Of course he did. You see, Ebenezer Linksley just really liked money.
Hello, I like money.
Oh, and he also really hated reptiles. So we have a greedy, racist tycoon who was more than willing to wipe out an entire class of species just to drive out those he hated and to make some more money. The only gold he'll be getting from us is the gold medal of evil, alongside our wrath and greed sinner medals. But too bad he's a little too, you know, dead to enjoy them.
Sorry, could you show me that clip again? Wasn't wearing my glasses.